迎大家再次回到马来西亚国际雪邦国际赛道，继续观看我们亚洲保时捷卡雷拉杯2025年赛季第7回合的赛事。Hello everyone and welcome back to Sepang International Circuit as we are ready to kick off the third race in this weekend. The track temperature now it's like around 43, but it's gonna be even hotter. Let's hear from our pit reporter Steve Dawson.
Very exciting race coming up. The possibility of an historic weekend for Dylan Pereira. He went from pole to checkered flag twice already, and he's on pole here in race 3. A lot of chatter about lockups at the end of race 2. Tyre degradation, the heat of the track. As you say, it's even hotter. The sun's had even more of a chance to bake the track. And don't forget, we're in a 45-plus minute race here, so even more chance that those last lap shenanigans that, let's face it, we enjoyed at the end of race 2 could happen again here at race 3. So lots to look forward to. Fantastic conclusion to what's been a really fun weekend.
And it's going to be a really challenging one because it's an endurance race, especially under this heat of the sun. So let's give it back to our commentators.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Steve. Our Junior Kangi Party here in the broadcast booth for one final time this weekend for round 7 in 2025. But this is also the 268th race in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. We've had 2 electric sprint races, 13 laps in length. One did have the safety car interrupt us for just 1 lap. This 45-odd minute race likely to be a bit more testy, I think is the right word for it. Let's go, though, and take a look at some of the highlights of race 2. I mentioned 13 lap, a sprint race. We did get the safety car intervention, but after, Dylan Pereira had a rocket of a launch. The climb up to turn 4 saw Enzo Trilli in second, defending with all his might to turn 9, even more defense. Dapper Buddy Harjo and Adrian De Silva, they came together in the opening couple of laps, and then Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, a bit too committed down at turn 2. He spun and avoided being collected by Hugo Ellis as well. Buddy Harjo would have further issues, but that would not be the cause of the safety car. That will come after a bit more close racing. Li Xuan Yu diving in front of Eric Kwong, and as everyone watched on from the garage, hip check to Henry Kwong, the AM pole sitter, who had a pretty torrid race, all things considered, found himself dropping down the field. Jackie Wu had some damage to the right front of his 992 generation Cup car. That saw the safety car bunch the field back up. And as much as there was excitement, it was behind the race leader. Dylan Pereira broke away. Bao Jinglong got passed by Lu Kai Shun on the penultimate lap of the race, but then the Toro Racing 77 instantly dived to pit lane, and Dylan Pereira at the front of the field made it 2 for 2 as he looks to, as Steve put it, complete what could be a historic weekend here on the cusp as well of celebrating his 28th birthday. Speaking of Steve, let's go down to the grid, see who he's caught up with, and Sammy rather.
Once again, we have the series manager Alex Imperatori joining us on the track today. Hi Alex, how are you doing?
Hi Sammy, I'm doing good, thank you. It's getting hot here.
Yes, it is. So, can you reflect on how were the 2 previous races and what can we expect in the final race in Sepang?
Yes, we've had 2 exciting races so far in very different conditions. At night, yesterday, cooler condition, then a more regular format this morning. Not too hot, already hot, but not too hot. But this one is going to be the main event of the weekend. Longer race, 45 minutes. We had a bit of cloud cover earlier, but now it's, the sun is coming through. So those drivers are going to be baking in the cars, and it's going to be a true test, not just of the machine, but also physically for the drivers.
Yeah, speaking about the endurance race, this 45 minutes race format has came back for the second time here back in Sepang. So what are the key strategies and the challenges that the teams and the drivers would face?
Yeah, like I said, the heat, I think, is the first thing or the first element they will have to fight against. Last year, for the first event here of the Endurance Challenge, it was raining for this main race, so the drivers got lucky. But today they can't escape it, and they will really have to face the music. It won't be easy. Also, that means in terms of driving, they will have to adapt a little bit because of the tire degradation. They will have to manage a little bit their tires. It's going to be a balancing act between pushing at the beginning, opening a gap, and maybe focusing on the end of the race. So each of them will have to make their decisions. and then they will have to hang in there. The other challenge will be the rolling start. It's something that they are not doing very often here in Carrera Cup Asia, so it's a different format, and they will have to manage a good start, good rolling start, and get the race underway.
So many challenges just from what you explained earlier. So after Sepang, we are going to head into Bang San and Mandalika. We are kind of almost halfway towards the season. So how do you see the competition unfolding from here?
Yes, after this race today, we will be exactly at the halfway point of the season. So we've got already a lot behind us with exciting races in Shanghai and Motegi before coming here, but we've got still plenty to look forward to. Next up is Bangsan. That's always a very special one, a very narrow street circuit. The walls are right there, no room for mistake. So this will be very interesting to see how the drivers attack that one. And then we go to Mandalika. It's a first for us in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, a new venue. The drivers will have to adapt very quickly and get up to speed. And then finally our finale for the very first time in Singapore. That's going to be the highlight of our season, and where everything comes to a head and we crown our champion. So that's going to be very exciting.
Sounds really exciting, and thank you so much, Alex. Let's pass it back to our commentators.
Thanks, Sammy. We'll catch up with Steve with our pole sitters or maybe some of the other drivers as well, because we've talked to our pole sitters plenty. There is Dylan Pereira. He has looked pretty good jumping out of the car as compared to some of the other competitors who have looked sweaty. It's hot and humid, and so this slightly longer race definitely going to be a challenge. So let's talk about the weather conditions. It's now up to 32 degrees Celsius, although that chance of rain, not much really, I think, for us to expect. 10% more on the not happening than the likely to happen. A little bit more wind than what we had earlier on, and the track temperature provided to us by Michelin has gone up from what was 38 degrees Celsius at the start of race 2 of this weekend, now up to the 43 that we just saw on our screen. Let's see who Steve's caught up with. I think he's been able to find Dylan Yip down on the grid.
Dylan Yip is with me, and he's in P3. Dylan, will a rolling start help you and everyone else get a little bit closer to Dylan Pereira?
I think for the first lap it will be more safe with the rolling start, but let's see how it goes with the pace in general. I think we'll be same results as before, but yeah.
Enzo Trulli's very close to you, and it's going to be a longer race. Is this a mentally tough challenge?
No.
Good. All right. Drive safely. We'll see you afterwards.
Yeah.
A driver that's coming off an appearance in the Porsche Mobile 1 Super Cup is Dylan Yip. So I think that's where maybe some of that confidence comes from. Wow, that is a busy grid as well. So it's great to see the fans out and enjoying the action here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia as we get set for our final race of the weekend. And Bang Sen Street Circuit will head there the first week of July. Mandalika, the next Endurance Cup race, that is in the third week of August. So a bit of time for these drivers. But as Alex Imperatori mentioned, once this race that is about to get underway finishes, officially halfway through the 2025 season. 7 rounds will be done, 7 still left to go, and the series for the first time will finish up on the streets of Marina Bay, joining up once again with the Formula One paddock for the first time since, of course, the opening round of the season as part of the Chinese Grand Prix. There is Dafa Budi-Harjo. But let's go chat to Francis Chia, who's going to be lining up third in the Pro-Am class.
Among the Pro-Am drivers, Francis Chia is in P13. That's P3 among those Pro-Am drivers. Can you make progress beyond third spot on the grid?
Well, that's certainly the target. My strategy is to drive as fast as possible. So,
track temperature's about 6 degrees hotter than it was for race 2. Good news or bad news?
I think it's similar, because I think for race 2 nobody had new tires. Whereas now we have new tires, so I think in the first 2/3 of the race, I think it should be good. It's really the last third, the extra 6-7 laps that we'll do, that'll be telling. But I think, like I said this morning, just have to go push from the beginning.
It'll be a fascinating watch. Drive safely.
Thank you.
Francis brings up the tyres. The drivers do get an additional set of tyres as compared to a normal sprint round. They get 3 sets of tyres for those 2 sprint race weekends, 4 sets of tyres across the 3 races, and so as you'd expect, a lot of them saving 1 set of the Michelins for the final round of the weekend. Maybe not the worst idea when you're thinking about it that way. We'll hopefully talk about some of the other storylines in some of the other classes as well, because the AM class has been totally chaotic, and Munkong Satyanthirakul is standing by with Steve.
Car number 15, Munkong Satyanthirakul. Car number 76, I should say, in P15. Munkong, concentration all the way to the end. It's a longer race. Is this going to be mentally tough?
Yeah, I think so, because it's quite hot today, and the race is like long than normal one. So I think it's quite tough.
Is a rolling start more or less stressful for you as a driver?
I think rolling starts less stress, but create less chance than the standing starts. Yeah.
Okay, drive safely. We hope to talk to you after the race.
Thank you. Thank you.
Championship leader in the AM class had 5 wins in a row, finished second in the previous race, and so that winning streak has been broken, albeit second is not the worst place to finish in the world. That happened on the last lap for Munkong Satyanthirakul as well, rather. So we'll keep an eye out as to how he bounces back from that one. It was a happy Chao Chi Kwan that grabbed the AM victory instead, as we take a look at our track analysis. It's 5.5 kilometers, the Sepang International Circuit, 15 turns, and in terms of these Porsche Cup cars with no ABS, no traction control, your best overtaking opportunities likely up to turn 4, running to turn 9, and then into turn 15, the last corner on the lap. And therefore, the corners before those are the ones you need to get the best exits from. A, to pass, but also to defend. And so out of turn 2, the long right-hand sweeper, and then the same to be said of 13, and the long left-hander at 15. All very, very important, but very difficult when you come to the medium speed left-right, that is 5 and 6, and that has been a place where track limits has been a talking point as well. Some of the drivers have been getting themselves in the eyes of race control for a couple of infringements, and so we'll keep an eye on the slightly longer race if that becomes more of an issue. We said it slightly earlier today in that second race, but getting 1 track limit violation, okay. As soon as you get the second, that's when you start to really worry that the next one will get you some sort of a penalty that will drop you down the running order. This as well, the second endurance race that the series has hosted. The first one was here at the Sepang International Circuit last year. Looking forward to seeing what the Mandalika International Circuit, which we'll visit for the first time August 22nd through 24th, is going to bring in terms of the endurance flavor. Rolling start. I mean, Steve asked a couple of the drivers on the grid, but I was talking to Aaron Johnson, who is a Porsche Carrera Cup North America driver, about the rolling starts, because they are the only Carrera Cup that entirely utilizes rolling starts. They don't do any standing starts. And so it was just very interesting talking to him about how you play that initial start and then restarts as well, right? It's always fun to jump into the sim with some of these drivers and be able to experience it alongside of them. So it's always something that I'm just keeping an eye on. Ready to go for the formation lap as the grid gets cleared. We'll be behind the Porsche pace car, and the drivers in their respective cup cars will now focus on a fresh set of Michelins and getting them into the operating window, getting some temperature into the brakes as well. In the second race of the weekend, your pole sitter was sitting for quite a while before everyone was gridded up and the lights began to build. So 5.5 kilometers now for the drivers to focus up on that tire building phase. Of course, there's not going to be so much of a delay for those at the front, but still want to make sure you're not messing around with the warm-up. So let's take a look at the starting grid. Dylan Pereira for Team Shanghai Honda BWT has been P1 all weekend, looking to try and make it a dominant lights the flag victory once again. Marco Giltrap, 2 second place finishes, got a good start in race 1 though. Can he challenge down to the opening corner? Dylan Yip starts third for a third consecutive race, hoping for a better start than in race 2, while Enzo Trulli is hoping the car balance in the Toro Racing 99 is more in his favour. A second Team Porsche New Zealand entry lines up 5th for Brock Gilchrist. Josh Rowledge is alongside of the Team We Trade PGR number 8, while Nazim Azman, one of our hometown heroes representing Malaysia, is in the Sai Motorsports Racing number 17. Rodrigo Diaz Almeida hoping to bounce back from his mistake in the previous race in the Team Jebsen 55. He's in front of Amir Harris Jeffrey in the Z-Speed Motorsports number 45. Hugo Ellis, second in the championship coming into the weekend. He's got some work to do from the edge of the top 10 in the second Sai Motors racing car. Lu Kai-shun, the Pro-Am pole sitter, 11th in the Toro Racing entry. He's got Bao Jinglong, though, in the BWT Phantom G racing car directly behind him. Francis Chia in the Open Road Racing number 21 has got Chao Chi Kwan at the front of the AM Championship alongside. Now, Munkong Satin Tirukun, keep an eye out for him. He's had some good starts so far this weekend. He'll be alongside of Li Xuan Yu in the Z-Speed Motorsports 321. Eric Kwong in the Bergwerk Motorsports entry is then alongside his brother in the Triple Ace Racing 91. This is where you get some of the AMs overlapping with Pro-Ams, and so Li Chao in the Team Better Life number 9, he's been involved in some physical fights with some of those around him. Hu Bo in the 610 Racing Machine rounds out the top 20. Adrian De Silva had some contact with Dafa Budi Harjo in the previous race, but he'll be at the front of the Masters qualifying order. He'll have Jackie Wu alongside, and then Christian Chia, winner in the Masters class in race 2, lines up 23rd, third in class. Dafa Budi Harjo had some lap times deleted in one of the qualifying sessions, and so he lines up 24th, with Yen Chuang 25th, John Shen 26th, and it will be Simon Chan at the very back of the 27 car grid. If you're wondering how they determined the qualifying order for this race, we had 2 qualifying sessions, both 15 minutes in length, and the best times from each were added up, and there you go. You have the grid for this final race of the weekend. The instructions are there, 2 by 2, as our hard-working Marshall team smile on their face. And why would you not? A Flak 6 Symphony is getting ready to rumble, as we'll send that Porsche safety car off and away. It was a 6-week wait for these drivers to hit the track once again since our previous round at the Mobility Resort Motegi. It won't be so long before they get a chance to do it again on the Bangsen streets. However, now eyes to the clock. 45 odd minutes of racing ahead of us. Eyes to the lights as 2 by 2 we run at the Sepang International Circuit. The third race of the weekend for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia is go. Marco Giltrap trying to instantly cut alongside, but he's got Dylan Yip to his inside. They're 3, are they 4 wide for second and third positions? There's some aggression coming. A Team Porsche New Zealand car pinched on the inside curb as Brock Gilchrist goes on the offense. Trying to look behind to see what Bao Jinlong's doing in his fight with Lu Kai-shun. Same to be said for Chao Chi Kwan and Munkong Satien Tirukun. It does look as though Adrian De Silva has held on to his lead in the Masters class, and up to turn 4. Dylan Yip now runs second, blocks the path on the inside, and around the outside, Nazim Azman is trying to get up to 4th position. Oh, we got a spinner. Oh, and contact as well. The stricken machine is Adrian De Silva, and the right rear is broken. Safety car will be required on the opening lap of the race, and another car has already shod one of the wheels. It's a 43-minute race plus 1 lap, effectively working out to close to 45 minutes. I tell you what, Adrian De Silva is going to do a good job of getting that car around. The problem is the debris. Will we clear it without needing the safety car intervention? Henry Kwong's on the outside of Munkong Satien Tirukun. He gets pushed out into some of the speedy dry. There is the 61 who has finally, I think, come to a stop and the safety car will be deployed. Here's the replay. He's already pointed in the wrong direction here. But that is not what the championship leader in the Masters class would have wanted to see. Porsche pace car instantly called back out as it holds station down at turn 1, hoping to pick up the rest of the field. My goodness. Our first race of the weekend went caution-free under the night lights. One safety car intervention in race 2, and we did not even complete the opening lap of the race before things slowed down for the very first time. A heat cycle might be getting put into the tires here, and so that's why you're seeing the drivers weaving back and forth so much. Quick update as we cross the line then. Let's see where everyone has shaken up. Baojin Long has dropped down to 21st overall. If timing, 23rd overall, excuse me. So we've had a lot of chaos and mix-ups coming up through turn 4. Francis Chia's the one that leads Pro-Am. Am is being led by Eric Kwong, a defending series champion in the class, of course. Lu Kai-shun, the former pole sitter in Pro-Am, is down to 3rd in class. And that's Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, who's trying to find a place to pull his car off the track. Amir Harris Jeffrey, I think, was also mixed up in some of that opening lap drama because he's down the back of the pack too, as is Yen Chuang. But lots to pick apart for race control as well. I didn't get a chance to really mention this because we're talking about so many other things in the pre-show, but the results of race 2 are actually not final just yet. So race control hasn't had a chance to review all the data and come to a conclusion. I think we're going to get another look at the start here though. So watch as the lights go out. It's a long hold. Everyone's eager to go. Release the 510 horsepower under their right foot. Enzo Trulli gets blocked off. Josh Rowledge is on the very outside. Keep an eye out for Nazim Osman in the 17. He's made his move on, I believe that's Brock Gilchrist, who's now up his inside. Josh Rowledge just gets pushed out wide. Where's Baojin Long? So Baojin Long's on the inside of almost 4 abeam. And the red flag is out now as well. So we'll get the safety vehicles to recover the stricken EBM entry. But the field will be brought to a halt on the main straight here at the Sepang International Circuit. This shouldn't really cause too much, I think, in terms of change to the race. Our safety team usually does a very good job of getting things cleared up pretty quickly. So Adrian De Silva's come together with, couldn't quite pick out the number. I think that might be Jackie Wu in the Porsche-owned Retail 69 team. So that would make sense as well. 2 Masters category drivers going wheel to wheel. Although maybe it could have been someone else. The action was so intense, right? You see them go 3, sometimes thinking about the 4 wide. It's a messy race start, though. And given that a lot of these drivers are probably more now accustomed to the standing starts in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, we do single file restarts, but 2x2 initial race starts is a slightly different thing. And maybe this is why the red flag is out. That right front's trying to point him left, and he's about to try and make a right-hand turn here. And that is Jackie Wu. So I think I was correct. So it's Jackie Wu that comes together with Adrian De Silva, although I'm not quite sure how right rear and right front damage comes from 2 cars coming together. Looks like a wheel nut or something's been dropped on the back straightaway as well. And if you are curious, Porsche 911 Cup cars have different color wheel nuts on the right and the left side, just to make it a little bit more obvious. That right front wheel needs a change, I would say. But Jackie Wu does a good... Look, he's got it formed up at the back of the queue, so I suspect he's going to now, hopefully, get some assistance to change the tire. The drivers are all, you can see, fanning their doors, trying to get some airflow into the car. Steve Dawson talked about it. It is a hot, a humid, a muggy day here at the Sepang International Circuit, and so these drivers will take any opportunity they can to try and cool themselves down behind the wheel of the car. So Bao Jinglong is at the very back of the running machines, based on this, I would say. So the clock has been stopped, by the way, which I do believe means that with 38 minutes and 38 seconds exactly on the stopwatch, whenever we get back underway, it will be with, effectively, still the majority of the full race distance. Now, if this had happened during the one of two weekends we share with the Formula One paddock, then our timetable is a bit stricter. So that's when we start to reduce the race length. Poor engineers hurrying out to quickly help their drivers. I say it's not just the engineers, it's the entire team as well. And the Porsche-owned retail team, Porsche-owned retail 69 team, I should say, out to try and help Jackie Wu, I would think. Hubo in front of Dafa Budihardjo. Li Chao. So there you got a Pro-Am, and an Am machine. It just goes to show how intense the mid-pack really is. You can see our camera's going down to try and pick up some of what's going on as well. So here's the running order as my timing screen says it, which there's no guarantee this is correct right now. Dylan Pereira, Dylan Yip, Marco Giltrap, Josh Rowledge, Nazim Asman. He's up to 5th. He'll be happy with that. As will, I'm sure, plenty of the Malaysian faithful. Brock Gilchrist, Enzo Trilli, and then Hugo Ellis, Francis Chia, and then Li Xuan Yu. That's the top 10. So a couple of Pro-Am cars. Eric Kwong, Liu Kai Shun, Munkong Setien Tirakun, Henry Kwong, Chao Chi Kwan, Li Chao, Hubo, Dafa Budihardjo, Simon Chan, John Shen, and then Christian Chia, Bao Jinglong, and Jackie Wu, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida. That's how I have it scored. I don't see Amir Harris Jeffrey, Adrian De Silva, or Yen Chuang having completed much more. You could hear the drivers actually talking about whether they should or should not get out of the car based on the window that they're given by race control as to expected restart time. I was just going through the rulebook as well. 12.8.7 is the relevant rulebook section here. Interventions allowed on the cars during race suspension phase. All interventions are prohibited on the grid and in pit lane, with the exception of a couple of things, like when it's raining, covering the car, safety things, assisting the driver, cleaning the windshield, changing a wheel and tire is not one of those factors. So expect Jackie Wu to have to go all the way around with the right front deflated. That's going to be a tall task for him. And he's going to do so probably pit while the race is getting back underway. He won't lose a lap, but he's going to lose a whole lot of time. Enzo Trilli, who in the Toro Racing 99, again, he's been fighting the balance of the car. I mean, the sprint race last night was quite remarkable, given that he's a driver that we know is capable. Qualified on pole and won the first race of the season. Just to see him slide backwards. There is Amir Harris-Jeffrey. So I was correct in not seeing him return to the main straightaway. Now, where is this? You can see the safety workers meandering over to him, but is that through 5 and 6? Is that 7 and 8? There is Marco Giltrap. Great to have him back, by the way, for the first time in 2025. Did get passed by Dylan Yip on the race start, but Giltrap still holding a podium position right now, so I don't think he can complain too much in the Team Porsche New Zealand number 66. Wait to see if we get word as to how long this delay is going to end up being. As one of our Z-Speed Motorsports drivers. And this is how you know it's a warm day, because the drivers haven't necessarily just even got an umbrella. All they've needed to really do is take the helmet off to calm down. There is Nazim Osman, who had a pretty good race start. Let's see if we can listen in. Now, Osman didn't have such a good race start in last night's sprint race, so I'm glad to see that, you know, first in this morning's race and here in the endurance race, he has kind of been able to slightly correct that. Whether it was just, he's another one of the drivers who's joining us for the first time this year, this weekend, maybe not getting that clutch bite point exactly where he needed it to be. Who knows? Only he will. There is Dylan Pereira. Assistant. So it sounds like Jackie Wu might be being moved to the pit lane based on that. I'm not sure if that's how I understood it. There's the Open Road Racing 21. Francis getting a quick drink of water, or maybe some electrolyte fluids. That's assistance to the driver. That's perfectly permissible, by the way. Some of the drivers going to talk to each other. Is that Eric and Henry Kwong, the brothers? So while we're under the safety car period, or red flag period, I should say, we'll restart behind the safety car and get back underway. I'll just emphasize a couple of things that, of course, are unique around the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia program. We have a Porsche talent pool. The point of the various Porsche One Make series, which start with the various Porsche Sprint Challenges, build to Porsche Carrera Cups, and then, of course, lead to the top of the Porsche One Make Racing ladder, the Porsche Mobile One Super Cup, of which Dylan Pereira is the 2022 champion. The idea is that propels you into an opportunity to join Porsche as a factory driver. And so Earl Bamber, who of course not just runs the team now here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Championship, but double champion in 2013 and 2014, he went on to become Porsche factory driver, and then, of course, went on to win Le Mans as well. So he's kind of paved the path in many ways. That's what they're all pursuing. Alessandro Goretti, who was last year's Porsche Carrera Cup Asia champion, he just won at Catalunya in the Porsche Mobile One Super Cup, and he's no longer with us here in the Carrera Cup Asia, but he's going off and competing in some of the other Carrera Cups around the world, which, again, same machinery, for the most part, same Michelin tires as well. There's a couple of series that don't use the Michelins. And for the most part, none of them enable traction control or ABS. It's only the Carrera Cup North America in which they have ABS enabled. They have rolling starts for the most part. Ooh, smart driver. Yes, put the helmet in the car so that doesn't get warm as well. A lot of the drivers have scuttled off to go and grab a bit of shade, though. So that's an interesting thing. You know, of course, a lot of them would have just been expecting the maybe brief safety car intervention and then get back underway. But now they've got to mentally kind of reset themselves. So we're still trying to figure out exactly what's happening right now. But at the very least, we know that Amir Harris-Jeffrey is stranded out on track. I'm still not quite sure where that is. I'm not seeing him on my tracker. That's the weird thing. My suspicion is maybe exit of turn 6, based on just being relatively close to turn 4. It could also be turn 7, though, so we will wait and see. Clock is still stopped. 38 minutes and 30 seconds is what the updated time says now. I thought initially it was 38:38. Dylan Pereira back over to the car. In 2 days' time, he'll celebrate his 28th birthday, and what a way it would be. The perfect birthday gift he could give himself would be the gift of 3 Carrera Cup Asia wins in the Team Shanghai Honda BWT machine. And for Team Shanghai Honda as well, in the Porsche Dealer Trophy, they raced in the series from 2012 to 2015, but then took a break, rejoined in 2021, finished second in the Dealer Trophy in 2023, third in 2024. With the way that Dylan Pereira is running right now, it's going to be very, very difficult for anybody in the rest of the series, in any one of those Porsche Dealer Trophy-supported entries, to try and fight the Team Shanghai Honda BWT group. Of course, Team Jebsen are the defending Dealer Trophy champions. I was hoping they'd turn up the microphone and we get... Oh, there we go. Okay, so it seems as though we're now forming back up 2 by 2. I think that's what's happening at the very least. So back off to the rule book I go. So yeah, look at the field forming back up 2 by 2. Now, because the race was red flagged on the opening lap, let me go back and check. Does that impact what's happened? So yes, if a race is suspended before the leading car has finished 2 complete racing laps, the following rules will apply. The start will be deemed null and void. However, this is actually something that should benefit Jackie Wu. Cars may be worked on. Any car already in the pit lane or entering the pit lane after the red flag may start the race from the pit lane after all cars have started the race. So technically, I think Jackie Wu might still be in contention here. Let's not count him out. But retired competitors are still retired, unfortunately. So what's going to happen here is we're going to regrid in the original starting grid now. I'm not entirely sure the length of the race, because the rulebook says the length of the race will be the scheduled race distance less at least 2 laps. But this is not a laps limited race. So as Dylan Yip and Dylan Pereira have a quick chat, I wonder if they're trying to figure out what's going to be happening as well. It's a very shiny helmet for Dylan Yip as well. Nice and chrome on the top. This does mean the Michelin tires, I mean, there's no chance of them not having gone through a heat cycle, right? So we were talking with some of the drivers on the grid about having a sticker set of Michelins. Not anymore, my friends. You're now down to a slightly scrubbed set of Michelins. See if we can listen into the engineers with Enzo Trilli in the Toro Racing 99. No sneaky intel, unfortunately, as much as we were hoping. Well, this is an interesting Endurance Cup outing for these drivers, and I think they're as confused as potentially I am up here in the booth right now, which is a good thing, I would say. Race control will tell them exactly what they need to do. Our great team here at the Sepang International Circuit. And again, just if you're joining us right now, we don't exactly know why we are under red. All we do know is that Amir Harris-Jeffrey was stranded out on track. We have also lost Adrian De Silva. I don't quite know where Yen Chuang has ended up in the 27 Phantom Global Racing entry. But yeah, Amir Jeffrey and Adrian De Silva definitely going to be classified, I think, as retired and DNFs. They will not be allowed to take to the restart here. I say restart, but I guess technically it is an initial race start where they will be 2x2 once again. So the Team Shanghai Honda BWT crew go to work on something. They aren't allowed to refuel the cars either, though, which you wouldn't want to put fuel in. You'd probably want to take fuel out, given that we are expecting the race length to be slightly reduced. Toro Racing going to work here. So did Enzo Trilli have a bit of left rear contact on that race start? As it pushed in the left rear fender. The grid is a hive of activity once again, though. And Marco Giltrap now finds himself back in second position. So Dylan Yip drops back a spot. Let me look at my starting grid and see what changes. So Josh Rowledge was fourth. He's going to move back to sixth. Nazim Osman was fifth. He moves back to seventh. This really does benefit, actually, Bao Jin Long, I believe, because he drops all the way down to fifth in class, 22nd overall. He will start the race, the restarted race, in 12th position, which is second in class. So he gets a second opportunity on the restart. There is, speaking of, the number 7, BWT Phantom G racing machine. We heard in the second race with one of our VIPs from Sime Motors, they're running an esports tournament here at the Sepang International Circuit, the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Malaysia, which is very cool. I come from a sim racing background, actually. I've been commentating on the Porsche Esports Super Cup for the last 3 years. Also commentated on the Porsche Esports Challenge USA for a handful of years with the great team at Porsche. So I love it. I think that's a great thing to see, bringing drivers to these sort of events and letting them kind of see what's happening. Taking another look at that left rear. So, official word has come through. We will restart at 1:45. So, 15 or so more minutes left to go. And there is Nazim Osman talking to that Hugo Ellis, his Sime Motors teammate. They've pushed Amir Harris-Jeffrey back behind the wall, so they're not recovering the car. Again, remember, if you're a DNF, you're not allowed to returned to the race, hoping that he's okay and the car hasn't taken too much damage. So that's 3, remember, retirements that we seemingly have confirmed. Bao Jinlong making sure the umbrella's giving him all the shade that he needs right now. Cloud cover does seem like it's come back over the track. I will just call attention to that. I'm not saying there's a chance of rain. I'm not saying it's going to rain. I'm just saying it does look a little bit more ominous than it did at the start. Was that a yawn from Josh Rowledge? Team We Trade PGR? Marshals are, I think, beginning to clear the grid. Or maybe just specific things. Because if we are 15 minutes away from the race getting back underway, it's probably a bit early to start clearing things. There's Li Xuanyu. The Z-Speed 321. We don't have official points from race 2. There were a couple of things that race control had not finished coming to a consensus on before this third race of the weekend began. But Li Xuanyu is only 10 points behind Bao Jinlong in the Pro-Am Championship fight. Munkong Satyen Tirukun, well, he is pretty handily clear of the rest of the field, even with a second place finish, breaking his winning streak. He had won every single race before the last round of the championship. And that happened in the final sector as well. Curious what the track temperature would be with that cloud cover that's come over the track. We'll see if we can get an update from Steve Dawson down there on pit lane with Sammy, our host, who's going to be bringing the energy for our final podium ceremonies of the weekend. Dylan Pereira having a chat there with Enzo Trilli. The 19-year-old Trilli, who joins us for the first time in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, the son of ex-Formula One driver Jarno Trulli. He won his debut Formula 4 race in 2021 and won his debut Porsche Carrera Cup Asia race as well. So has a nice history of being able to find success pretty quickly, no matter what car, no matter what series he goes and competes in. And been fighting out here in Asia for a couple of years, actually. Was 5th in the 2023 Super Formula Lights Championship. 2 race wins as well on his way to that championship finish. So transitioning from the open wheel machinery into the sports car, and he's dedicated. He has said his goal, joining the Porsche talent pool, is to try and race at the likes of Le Mans and be a Porsche factory driver. Speaking of Le Mans, well, that is just 7 days away. And a busy weekend, or set of weekends, for Porsche factory drivers around the world. We start, of course, with the 24 hours of Le Mans. It will be very fun to follow the Porsche 963s in action, fighting at the front of the hypercar class. You've also got a couple of the GT3 cars that will be fighting. There's Jackie Wu pulled to the side, Yen Chuang as well. That right front, or the side skirt, has been kind of ripped off the side there. That looks suboptimal. But yeah, Le Mans, you'll see a couple of the GT3R Porsches as well. The weekend after that, it's a trip to the Green Hell, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where the GT3, GT3 Cup car, GT4 Porsches will all be out on track as Porsche tries to grab another victory at the famed Green Hell. And our champion of the series does actually, if you are curious, win, as part of their prize pool, the Nordschleife permit finance. So, maybe they're thinking, 24 hours of the Nürburgring, I'll go and race in that down the line. But then the weekend after that, the 24-hour races don't stop because it's the 24 hours of Spa, where again the GT3R will be out in action. Car that a couple of our drivers have raced around this track in the 12 hours of Sepang. So, going to be a fun triple header of 24-hour races. Let's go down to the grid, though, because I think Steve's going to catch up with some of our drivers as we get ready to get back underway.
Well, during this long break, Nazim Asman is with me. Nazim, first of all, what have your team told you about why we're in a standstill?
I mean, they haven't said much, but I think just looking around the track, there's a lot of cars in the grass, in the wall, so I think that's why. But yeah, if they want to do a red flag restart, I'm okay to go again, and we just have to see what we can do.
You're very familiar with this track and with these conditions. I mean, how tough is it on the tyres once track temperature gets up to the mid-40s like it is now? Can get hotter than that, right?
Yeah, because now the sun has come down, so not so bad. But I think, yeah, when we did the initial race start, it was boiling, wasn't it? And I think the tyres will go off quite a lot. I think the race got cut a bit short now to 37 minutes, so a bit less laps. So will be nicer on the tyres, but we need to see how it's going to go.
But no one was expecting the change in temperature that will be caused by the delay here, as you say, as the sun goes down. Is that going to cause problems for everyone?
No, I think you deal with it, right? It's a racetrack. It's 5 kilometers of open, so yeah, if it happens, it happens. But yeah, you just focus on the race and just try to go ahead.
Meanwhile, what do you do in the 20 or 30 minutes of downtime in terms of fluids and recovery and staying warm?
Yeah, just drink.
Staying warm is not a problem.
You're drinking a lot of water and just relaxing, I think, to be honest, that's the most important part. Just don't stress yourself out. We have to do it again now. I had a really good start just now, went up to P4, and now we're back in P7. But do it once, you can do it again.
All right, stay focused and stay safe.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to our commentators.
Thanks, Steve. And great to see Nazim on the grid here. Yes, Sime Motors bringing him back to the series where he finished 7th in 2024. He actually got a podium here in 2023, and the year before that was racing Formula 3 with High Tech Grand Prix. So love to see him, and what seems to be lots of energy as well. Just get that vibe from him. He'd be a good driver to have a chat with about the various comings and goings of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Hello, fans. Hope you're enjoying the action. The series is very glad to be back at the track at which the series held its very first race. You have to go all the way back to 2003 to find the first running of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. A one-year hiatus during 2020, obviously due to the global pandemic. In 2021, the series returned with a full year in China, a full season in China, I should say. But after that, it's been able to start breaking out a little bit more. Let's go back down to the grid, see who Steve's been able to catch up with now.
I have the Dylans with me, Pereira and Yip. Let's talk to Dylan Pereira first. Looks as if there's going to be another start, and looks like you're going to be placed on the grid. How are you feeling about that, having had a press rehearsal once already?
I think we did the start already, so we know more or less how we have to behave. So I think for me it was quite good. I could keep my position in turn 1 and 2, and was already had quite a gap. So I think I just need to do the same, or even a little bit better. But I think I just try to survive the first 2 corners, and then see what we will do.
Before the race started, we spoke about potentially an historic weekend for you. Pole to checkered flag 3 times. You feeling the pressure, or you feel comfortable with that situation?
Definitely, I know the pace is there. The car was feeling good in the first push lap, so I feel comfortable. So let's see what we can do. I will try to win it for sure.
All right, I'm going to get the camera to stay where he is, and I'm going to go behind him, and we'll have a word with Dylan Yip. Dylan, you're on your way to your car now. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Did you enjoy the rest?
Yeah, it was hot. Yeah, it was really hot.
How have you managed with fluid? Taken some down?
Yeah, but it sweated out immediately. It was really hot.
Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Steve trying to get the word from Dylan Yip, but hurrying back over to the car because it is confirmed. We are going back racing at Q2. 3:45, race restart confirmed, and so Hans device going to go on, helmet going to be strapped on, the gloves, the suit, the gear getting put on by Dylan Pereira as he looks to try and continue what has been an almost perfect and almost impervious weekend so far. The only point that he has dropped here at Sepang was last race where he did not get the fastest lap. Marco Giltrap got that instead. And so 1 point stolen away from Dylan Pereira so far this weekend. There is the driver that stole that fastest lap. Team Porsche New Zealand, number 66, the 21-year-old. Love to see Marco back in the series. He finished second in the first race at Sepang in 2024. Didn't get back onto the podium after that, but he's been second through the entirety of the weekend so far at the checkered flag. So let's see. Did not get the best launch down to turn one on the initial race start. He's got a chance to now go that little bit better. So 37 minutes is going to be our new race length. I believe that's still 37 minutes and 1 lap, though. So probably closer to 39 minutes. It does mean, though, that these drivers, like Steve was asking, track temperature going to likely drop from what they were expecting, but Nazim Osman said it best. You deal with it. You're racing drivers. You've got 5.5 kilometers of tarmac. Track temperature is what it is. So if you're just joining us, well, first, welcome along. It's been an eventful weekend here at the Sepang International Circuit for Porsche Carrera Cup Asia as we get ready to go. Let's go back down to the grid. Steve's got another interview.
Enzo Trulli's with me. Enzo, you've had a dress rehearsal at these starts. What would you do differently this time once we get going again?
Yeah, I tried to prepare, take the gap, but I think the car in front broke too much and I got closer and then I couldn't see the lights. But then as soon as the lights went off, I had already 3 people beside me, so I need to maybe take a little bit more gap and try to get a better run. Let's see.
Is it difficult to keep your concentration after this delay? Are you still focused?
Yeah, I'm still focused. There's no problem.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
So turn 4 incident is under investigation. Just come on through the board. Says car number 22. So that's Hubo. We'll see if there is a word from race control before the end of the race. They've got 37 minutes, so we might see a penalty come down before the conclusion of the race. Field is going to be left, though, by themselves as the grid gets cleared. We are moments away from getting underway. Technically, the race start was null and void, so the action that's happened technically didn't happen. We won't see Yen Chuang, we won't see Jackie Wu, and we won't see Amir Harris Jeffrey. The empty positions on the grid will just be filled by drivers moving forward. So I don't think there's going to be any chopping and changing of the starting lineup, but the holes will be plugged. So there's one hole on the inside line. Amir Harris Jeffrey was slated to line up 9th. Jackie Wu was scheduled to line up 22nd, and Yen Chuang was scheduled to line up 25th. So basically the inside row is going to move up 2 positions depending on where you are, a maximum of 2 positions. Lights are now off on the gantry, so we are moments away from pulling away, and these drivers having to now do exactly what they were doing before. Warm up their Michelin tires, get the heat into the brakes as the door gets closed. So 1 heat cycle for most of the field on their tires. Remember, in these Endurance Cup events, they do get an extra set of tires with which to carry through. Story of the races, in some cases, have been inside front lockups. Often the left front is the tire that takes the hardest work, because you think about places where you often lock up. Turn 15 is one of them. And that's definitely where we've seen the most chaos in terms of drivers just going straight on. Right. Formation lap begins once again. but with 3 cars watching from the sidelines. So the likes of Bao Jinlong get a redo after the initial race start didn't go their way. Are we going to see a more tentative race start as well? Drivers have seen how crazy that initial attempt was. Will they learn lessons? Will they elect to play this slightly differently? Only time will tell. Again, we'll do a quick rundown of the starting grid, just for those that are just joining us now. Dylan Pereira is on pole position, and the qualifying order set by taking the fastest times from the 2 qualifying sessions that we had, both 15 minutes in length, and adding them up. So the cumulative best times set the grid. So Pereira, fastest of them all. Giltrap is in second in the Team Porsche New Zealand entry, trying to challenge Team Shanghai on the VWT. Dylan Yip third in the Phantom Global machine. He's got Enzo Trilli in the Toro Racing machine alongside. Brock Gilchrist in Team Porsche New Zealand are alongside of Josh Rowledge in Team Raytrade at PGR, with Nazim Osman and Rodrigo Diaz Almeida 7th and 8th positions for Sy Motors Racing and Team Jebsen. Amir Harris-Jeffrey will not be taking to the start, so Hugo Ellis lines up in 10th position. He'll be alongside Liu Kai-shun as Toro Racing alongside of Sy Motors. Bao Jinlong in the BWT Phantom G Racing number 7 is in front of Francis Chia in the number 21 Open Road Racing Porsche 911 Cup car. Chao Chi Kwan in 610 Racing's machine is then the best of the AMs in front of Munkong Setien Tirakun, or EBM, with Li Xuanyu and one of our Pro-Am entries, Z-Speed Motorsports' 321. Eric Kwong in front of Henry Kwong for Bergruck Motorsport and Triple Ace Racing. Li Chao for Team Better Life in front of Hubo for 610 Racing. Adrian De Silva is also not going to be taking to the start. Neither will Jackie Wu, so that means Christian Tia is going to be the best place of the Masters drivers. Dafa Budiharjo, Yen Chuang not going to be taking to the start either. John Shen and Simon Chan, 27, that were slated to take to the grid. A couple dropping off. So they've got the heat into the Michelins, you'd hope. And the Porsche pace car about to pull away and leave the field in control once again of Dylan Pereira. Now that they are formed up 2 by 2, no more weaving. Probably still rolling the brake and the throttle, just keeping some of that temperature in. But the tire itself not really getting as much attention as it once was. The pace car has not pulled away with such an advantage as it did on the previous attempted start. But let's try this again. Take 2 for Endurance Cup Racing here, the Sepang International Circuit for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. It's 37 minutes now thrown onto the clock, and 2 by 2. A unique situation, a rolling start for these drivers. Eyes to the lights. Pereira and Giltrap on the front row, ready to go. We're green, and oh my goodness, Nazim Osman almost instantly into the wall as Brock Gilchrist chops the nose off. Dylan Pereira is going to be challenged by Enzo Trilli around the outside though. The Toro Racing 99 is up to second, a great launch, taking advantage of the rolling start. Bao Jinlong under pressure, he's on the inside and 3 wide as they dive down through the left. Looks like Eric Kwong trying to take advantage and move his way forward in the AM class as well. So 5 DNSs, DS Almeida included in the drivers not taking to the green. Up to turn 4, Enzo Trilli's hold on to second position. Oh, bit of a moment there for Eric Kwong as he was on the outside of turn 4 and almost off the track. Slip up for Hubo. He's now dropped behind another one of the competitors. Oh, Osman very, very close to being turned as they exit out of turn 5 and 6. Dylan Yip almost over-rotating through the double right-hander as he tries to now get back past Enzo Trilli. A big move offered, and its teammates. Nazim Azman watches as Hugo Ellis boxes him out, and the two just about avoid banging doorknobs. Parked behind, Brock Gilchrist protects the inside line in the Team Porsche New Zealand machine. A bit careful because Josh Rowledge in the Team We Trade PGR number 8 is right there as well. See these drivers thinking they've got to cover the inside, and I don't blame them. Although Hugo Ellis, there was an apex there. He missed it, unfortunately. Onto the back straight for the first time. And successfully, a green flag lap about to be complete in the endurance race to close the weekend out. And a big gap between the front four or so. Race start is under investigation, though. And there's a couple of things that instantly pop to my mind. Azman getting the launch and then being chopped off. What else? Not quite sure. Enzo Trilli's forcing Dylan Yip the long way around, in through turn 1. Marco Giltrap trying to close up as they go wheel to wheel down through the left-hander. Can Dylan Yip get onto the power and now hold the inside up to turn 4? No, he's back behind. And this is exactly what Carrera wants to see. Hard racing, it's costing them time. Dylan Yip in the Phantom Global Racing car, pushed off the track by Enzo Trilli. But he's still on the inside as they sweep their way into turn 5. The nose gets chopped off, Trilli holds on. The buffer at the front of the field, though, going to grow. It's up to probably 2 seconds and counting now. As Dylan Pereira punches in a couple of purple sectors, released from these fights behind. Lukai Shun still holds on to the Pro-Am lead. Unkong Satyan Tirakun has jumped up to the front of the Yam class. He's now in front of Chao Chi Kwan. So Dylan Yip still all over the back of Enzo Trilli. But out of turn 11, he almost ran himself off the road. Needs to make sure he doesn't push too hard. You're trying to find that fine line, both for the Michelin tires, but also for the Porsche Cup car. Your Masters class is now between two, Christian Chia and John Shen. This is going to mix up the championship fight with both Adrian De Silva and Jackie Wu not scoring. Dylan Yips peeled Enzo Trilli off the apex. Doesn't help him though. Another lap closed. Carrera with a 2:08.530, a good 2.5 seconds quicker than Enzo Trilli. Contact, door banging to turn 1. This is physical. And Dylan Yip once again tries the crisscross. They pinch each other down through 2, and Marco Giltrap's probably sniffing his piece of all of this. And he's passed. He's made his move on Dylan Yip. An opportunistic pass from the 66. And now look to the inside. He's going to try and force Enzo Trilli into a mistake here. Remember, our key passing opportunities. Potentially now, turn 9, the next one. Definitely not turn 6. But don't count Giltrap out. Our first penalty has just come down from race control as Dylan Yip gets to the inside of Giltrap. Went out wide through the double right-hander at 7 and 8. And it swapped back around. Hugo Ellis closing behind. So is Nazim Azman, Brock Gilchrist and Josh Rowledge too. Bao Long has gotten in front of Lukai Shun into the Pro-Am lead. As he tries to make it what would be a remarkable 4 wins in a row after a sluggish start to the season. Here we go, looking at the replay. Did Giltrap go out wide, or did really he leave a door open and Yip didn't really need a second invitation? That was a great pass from the number 6. As confirmation of the drive-through penalty comes down. Look how defensive Enzo Trulli's going, the 20-year-old, all the way to the inside. Dylan Yip commits under the brakes, and has he overcommitted? Keeps it on the black stuff, but watch for Marco Giltrap. The gap up front, a 6-second advantage, 7 minutes into this race. It's Dylan Pereira's world, and we're living in it right now. Yip not close enough to have a look on Trulli this time by, but the train now running as many as 7 cars deep. There comes Hugo to serve the drive-through penalty. That does seem like a very, very slow pit lane speed as well. So less than 30 minutes now left on the clock. In the AM class, Munkong Sathien-Tirukun has got Li Xuanyu and Francis Chia between him and Chao Chi Kwan and Henry Kwong. So he's got the advantage of track position right now. In about 10 minutes time, we're going to start thinking a bit more about the tyre wear. That's when we'll be reaching around the halfway mark of this race. And even though they do have sticker Michelins for the most part, if you're locking up and snatching that inside front in various braking zones, that will develop a problem. Fight between the Porsche talent pool drivers for the most part here, with Marco Giltrap and Nazim Osman, our guest entrants here today, joining us as non-season single entry drivers. Ooh, Hugo Ellis is getting closer. He didn't get the best in qualifying, it's fair to say, in the Sime Motors Racing number 38. But second in the championship coming into the weekend, you knew that he was going to want to try and push a bit harder. Problem is, he has just been dinged by race control for being out of position on the start. He's not the only one. Car 321 and 38, 5-second time penalty for a false start. So that is also Li Xuanyu that will have the 5 seconds added to the time at the end of the race. Boy, oh boy, we're getting all sorts of drama here today, aren't we? We had a safety car in our second sprint race, the race earlier today. And now a red flag, a null and void start, and already a handful of penalties, including one on our second attempt at the start. There's Bao Jinlong. His advantage over Lu Kai-shun now is up to 1.5 seconds, so he has got the pedal to the metal and he is full blast right now. 5-time Pro-Am champion, Bao Jinlong. He was also a member of the very first class of China Junior Development Program drivers that Porsche had, and that was back in 2014. 4 drivers. Just shows how long Bao Jinlong has been part of the series and been a front runner in the Pro-Am category as well. Behind, look at the teal entry. That's Munkong Sathien-Tirukun. 321 behind is Li Xuanyu. Not a class battle. This is Am versus Pro-Am. And the driver behind, probably being told over the radio by the team, 5-second time penalty has come down from race control. Wow. So Dylan Pereira is going to have an 8-second advantage, I think, this time at the line. We're seeing some more warnings, and second warnings in some cases. Bao Jinlong included in that, Josh Rowledge as well. So drivers have to be a bit careful now. We've still got 25 odd minutes left to go. And with the cooler conditions, Enzo Trulli looking a lot more comfortable as we've settled into the rhythm than he did in either of the sprint races. But the balance of the car did seem to falter the longer the race went on. Maybe he saved a set of Michelins for this particular race as well, and that's part of the factor. There's John Shen, who's in front of Christian Chia now, so he could potentially be on for his first win in the Masters class. The man behind Medina Motorsports, 68-year-old, continuing to show that the passion for motorsports never goes away. Over a decade of experience in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. His first season back in 2010. I'll say I do like the way that a lot of the cars look. You have the very bombastic look of Henry Kwong and Eric Kwong's machines, but even Moon Kong's teal entry, it just looks really nice. It's hard to make a Porsche Cup car look bad at the end of the day. That's just a personal opinion, but yeah, no, the Porsche Team New Zealand entry, I love the way that looks as well. Car 99, second warning for Enzo Trulli, track limits at turn 6. Same for Dylan Yip. So these drivers, again, remember, the more often you find yourself in the attention of the stewards, the more likely it is that you get yourself in trouble. Remember, Hugo Ellis in the number 38 machine will have a 5-second time penalty. I wonder if you swap around him and Nazim Osman in the sister Sime Motors car directly behind. Might not be a terrible option. Bao Junlong just extending his advantage over Lu Kai-shun. And here comes the slide. Li Xuanyu's finally had enough of sitting behind Munkong Satyen Tirukun. Although Satyen Tirukun attempts the switchback. And then you see on the brakes, he doesn't want to get into this fight for track position. So Li Xuanyu, even though he's got the 5-second time penalty to be added at the end of the race, I think he's really thinking about Francis Chia in the open road racing, the bright yellow machine now behind Munkong. Li Xuanyu wants a 5-second gap to the 21. That would be enough for him to hold on to that podium position. Dafa Budi-Harjo was also putting the pressure onto Henry Kwong. Again, not for a position in class for Henry. For Dafa Budi-Harjo, though, he is just trying to fight his way from the back of the field. He started 24th. Lost some lap times in one of our qualifying sessions for guess what? Track limits. So the way the grid was set for this race, the combined times, fastest times from our two individual 15-minute qualifying sessions. If you had your lap times deleted, your fastest lap times deleted, it put you on the back foot straight away. Eric Kwong is not having the best run right now. I wonder if he's got damage on his machine as a result of everything that happened at the start. But he is still just out there, and I think trying to get to the end of this race and salvage whatever points that he can. He is, of course, defending AM champion. And with Munkong Satyen Tirukun being so consistent at the front of the field so far this season, of course, 1 second place finish and count the 5 victories that he's added to his record. Every point's going to matter for Eric. Meanwhile, in the pros, the train is becoming a little bit more stretched out. Dylan Yip's getting closer to re-attacking Enzo Trulli. I think it's Josh Rowledge, though, that you've really got to keep an eye on. Brock Gilchrist still has enough speed to just hold on for the time being. And great to see Brock back with us after an emergency surgery kept him from joining us at Mobility Resort Motegi. Had to get appendix surgery. But sounds like all went well. His recovery's gone well as well. And Team Porsche New Zealand find themselves in a decent spot. For Josh Rowledge, his best finish of the season came in the last race, a 4th place finish. He needs to make some moves if he wants to try and get back up there. flat sixes continue to scream as through 7 and 8. This is where Marco Giltrap, obviously, we saw earlier, left a door open that Dylan Yip took advantage of. I'd never thought of turn 7 and 8 as a passing opportunity. But Dylan Yip proved me wrong, so credit where credit's due. I have learned something about the Sepang International Circuit here today. 10.4 seconds is the lead for Dylan Pereira. Bao Long leads by 1.3 seconds in Pro-Am, while Munkong Sati and Tirukun, it's about 1.7 seconds, and he's got Francis Chia still between him and Chao Chi Kwan in the car that did start on pole in class. Masters are still between John Shen and Christian Chia. There's about 7 seconds between the two of them now. And John Shen still looking like he is on track for his first victory of the season. Hugo Ellis trying to square up Marco Giltrap. And putting enough doubt into the mind of Giltrap. And he needs to cover the inside. Not going for the switchback like we've seen before is Ellis. Instead, he was committed to going the long way around and hung out to dry. Maybe just learning the way that he wants to make this move happen. For Hugo, he has experience in this car in the Porsche Carrera Cup Great Britain. 3rd place in the 2024 season. And for 2025, he has switched continents into Porsche Carrera Cup Asia and joined the talent pool as well. There's Eric Kwong. I mentioned he's been having some issues. Heads down to pit lane to try and get some of that at least relieved. Starting to pack back up behind Enzo Trulli. Less than 20 minutes to go now. We had 5 drivers who will technically be classified as a DNS, remember. If you missed our initial attempt at a race start, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, Amir Harris Jeffrey, Adrian De Silva, Jackie Wu and Yen Chuang, all involved in incidents and all unable to take our second and eventually successful attempt at a start. Has just flashed up, by the way. Car number 5, 99, 66, 6, 10, 8, and 38. Under investigation for start procedure infringement. So that includes Dylan Pereira. That includes Enzo Trulli. Includes Dylan Yip, Marco Giltrap, Brock Gilchrist, Josh Rowledge, Hugo Ellis. The only driver not involved in that from the pros, as far as I can tell, is Nazim Osman. Now that might be something that will go down very well with the hometown support. Li Xuan Yu, he's on the back of Lu Kai-shun. Seems to be struggling right now, the Toro Racing 77. Very wide. That will cost him some time down this main straightaway. 950 odd meters. Li Xuan Yu hops to the outside and then dives to the inside. Doesn't fully get alongside. Oh, but shoves his way forward. Kisses the back bumper. And then the long way around. Outside through turn 2. And forward to second. Remember, he does have a 5-second time penalty. That will be added post-race. He's just trying to build as much of an advantage as he can to that bright yellow machine that you see. But then locks the right front. That's not going to work out nicely for him. Here comes Lu Kai-shun once again. Here's the replay. Just a little kiss. And at least the right rear still looking intact. It's not like he's pushed in the bodywork. That's a bit of a NASCAR style move, if we're being honest. Oh no! Christian Chia now in pit lane. And after winning the previous race, you'll be really, really hoping that he can get back out there and be classified, because he does not want to be a DNF. He wants to get the points on the board. Given that Adrian De Silva and Jackie Wu are not scoring points, first and second in the championship, John Shen's going to really close up the buffer as we conclude the weekend here at Sepang. Yes, there we go. They're going to push him back. He will get back out there and he will finish this race. There's the lockup from Li Xuanyu. Modulated the brake that I'm thinking he might not have a terrible flat spot. Of course, if you're new to motorsports, what happens when you see that is the driver, there's no ABS in this car like you have in your road car at home. So if you hit the brake a little bit too hard and it locks up, what it does is it just drags the wheel across the ground and leaves a flat spot. That then vibrates as it continues to rotate the tire, and eventually it can lead to some pretty nasty consequences. Long way around. Can it get done? Francis Chia wants to see. Well, the Dafa Bertie Harjo, it's a pro machine, makes his way through. That's what Li Xuanyu wants to see right now, because that's going to help him potentially still hold on to third, even with the time penalty that we've been mentioning. Less than 15 minutes now left on the clock. Dylan Pereira, last lap was a 2:10, 2:31, so he has definitely slowed his pace. He is almost 2 full seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race, whereas Enzo Trilli at the front of the field, he's only around 1.5 seconds off of his fastest lap. So you can see the advantage that Pereira has now translates a championship lead that's so comfortable that with the speed that he brings to the racetrack as well, he just has this ability to work the weekends to great effect. Down the back straightaway once again. So Bao Jinlong is still 3 seconds clear of Li Xuanyu for the Pro-Am lead, but Munkong Satien Tirokun is now directly in a fight with Chao Ji Kwan. There's no traffic between the two of them, and only 1 second on the timing screen. The two of them swapped around on the last lap of race 2, so we'll keep an eye on if things change on this particular lap. Masters, John Shen with Christian Chia's pit stop now in a very good spot, so he is looking like the win will go his way. Knock on wood, just keep it out of trouble. It's a black and white warning flag for contact at turn 1 for Li Xuanyu. I suspect that's for the bit of contact that saw him get past Lu Kai-shun. But race control just deciding it's worth a warning, not a penalty. Which is a decision I think I agree with. As the race is getting into its later stages, Brock Gilchrist is dropping back off the tail end of Nazim Azman. It's now 1.7 seconds, that gap. There's John Shen with the flames on the front. He's got the Fire Monkey Motorsports 101 Simon Chan. Technically not a class fight, but still one that I'm sure they'll be hoping to stay wheel to wheel. Give us a wave. Inside the Toro Racing cap, keeping an eye on the timing screen, on the pictures, on the broadcast as well. Enzo Trilli's doing a much better job than in the previous 2 races. You do have to give it to him. As Hubo in pit lane. Will he get back out there to be classified? Might be rolling out a tire, so I wonder if they've got a puncture. Maybe a slow puncture from some of the start drama that's finally become noticeable. The black flag for Li Xuanyu, by the way, he's been instructed to give the position back to Lu Kai-shun. So you'll see the 77 back to second in the Pro-Am class shortly. As a snatch of the front brake. Mistake from Marco Giltrap. Hugo Ellis is going to now try and push the tempo. Hugo off and away after that tyre, I think, does get changed. 5th in the AM class for Hugo. Some more track limit warnings coming down, but no penalties that I've seen so far. Race control getting the message out there with the 2 warnings that we've seen for the most part. There's only a couple that have had 3rd warnings. And that does include the likes of Josh Rowledge, Baojin Long, pushing as hard as they can. Lukai Shun's dropped backwards now, and he's in pit lane, so has he got an issue as well? It looks like he's taking down the window netting. He's getting out of the car. Oh, that's a frustrated, dejected Lukai Shun. He's, I think, trying to show how he's holding the steering wheel. Oh, heartbreak. Heartbreak. The now sole surviving Toro Racing machine. Still sits 2nd as Enzo Trulli. Dylan Yip still close in pursuit, but with Giltrap's mistake, he's dropped backwards. As mentioned, looking more towards Hugo Ellis and Nazim Osman. 9 minutes left on the clock. Eric Kwong's about to be passed by your overall leader as he limps the Bergwerk Motorsport number 23 to the end of this race. As Dylan Pereira, what's the lap time this time by? 2:10.865, so he's still a good 7/10 quicker than the majority of the rest of the field. But definitely not pushing to the limit at this point. He's going to leave the Sepang International Circuit with a quite comfortable point advantage halfway through this 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia Championship. Stacking a couple of those winner's checks as well. Now, Marco Giltrap defends the inside. He pushes Hugo Ellis out wide. Ellis tries to open the door up through turn 2. Good racing between all 3 machines there. Giltrap holds on in the Team Porsche New Zealand machine. Syme Motors Racing stacked up behind, forcing Giltrap to cover the inside to turn 4. The Brit still on the track and still alongside. Nazim Osman almost took it 3 abreast into turn 5. And Hugo Ellis not willing to concede. He holds on. He grabs the spot. Marco Giltrap now vulnerable. Here comes the Malaysian. Nazim Osman to the inside of turn 7. But the jaw, the nose gets slammed shut. As onto the curb, Osman almost bobbles out wide. Some good stuff as lock-up in front from Enzo Trulli. Small lock-up from Hugo Ellis as well. The first race was, I don't want to say slow, but it definitely was not as action-packed, I think, as many expected. No safety cars, not as many wheel-to-wheel moves. But here on Super Sunday, it's been a very different affair. Our 13-lap sprint had its fair share of drama. And this endurance race, boy, we'll get into highlights, I'm sure, at the end, and there's plenty to try and pick our way through. So Lukai Shun joins the 5 that did not start the race and not being classified at the end. Again, there's a few drivers that are not on the lead lap at this point, but still out there and trying to be classified for their championship fights. Back to turn 1. A little bit closer now for Brock Gilchrist and for Josh Rowledge, as Marco Giltrap and Hugo Ellis squabbled in the last handful of laps. This is the 14th lap of the race, by the way, so we've officially now done more laps than what we have done in any of our sprint races. So tyre management does start to be a bit of a talking point. I wonder what's going to happen with the black and white warning flag for Li Xuanyu. So, not only does he have a 5-second time penalty, but he also has that give position back to Lu Kai-shun message that came down. Because he wasn't able to fulfill that obligation, does that mean race control swap it out for a different penalty? That could mean that Francis Chia and Li Chao, who are right now 3rd and 4th in the Pro-Am class, are actually at 2nd and 3rd. Munkong Setian Tirukun, he's been passed by Chao Chi Kwan for the Am class lead. It's all happening in the mid-pack. There's lots of things happening that are potential championship implication worthy moves. Bao Jinlong, if Li Xuanyu drops out of the podium contention, he would continue to just grow his championship lead. Similarly for Chao Chi Kwan, he is a single entry driver, so he's technically not scoring championship points, but what he is doing is taking a few away from Munkong Setian Tirukun. So it's not necessarily closing up the Am Championship. What that does, though, as Marco Giltrap locks the left front, is lets Nazim Osman slide his way through the final corner. One of the easier passes that you will see this weekend. Now can Giltrap fight back instantly, because he's looking to the inside. Too far back to think about the dive. And so settles back into 6th position. Sime Motors Racing now up to 4th and 5th. They will be loving the action. Giltrap does a good job to just avoid going off into the grass. I'm sure he's probably got some marbles onto his tyres by the virtue of running wide, but we saw some big lockups that have resulted in drivers almost touching that grass and finding themselves in trouble. And I was just speculating on Li Xuanyu and the black and white flag with the 77. It's just been upgraded to a 5-second time penalty for contact at turn 1 with an advantage. So he's going to lose 10 seconds on the track now, which, if I do my math, still means that he's going to hold on to 2nd in class. Can't afford to lose too much time, though, with now 3 minutes left to go. It's still Dylan Pereira that leads, from Enzo Trulli, Dylan Yip, Hugo Ellis, and then Nazim Osman, the top 5 in the pros. Pro-Am, Bao Jinlong from Li Xuanyu, from Francis Chia from Li Chao. Am is Chao Chi Kwan, Munkong Setian Tirukun, Henry Kwong and Simon Chan, and then Hubo. On the Masters, it's just John Shen and Christian Chia left running after what was a tumultuous initial attempt at a race start. We'll grab a look at that replay in about 5 minutes' time. Once we've seen the end of this race, talked about the race results, we'll get a chance to try and absorb some of the action. Race control have been busy. That's another big lockup, and that's with a bit more consequence. Every time Giltrap snatches the left front, it gets worse. Now Brock Gilchrist, I think, trying to get the message across. Let's work together. Let's not fight each other too hard. Josh Rowledge plodding in the Team We Trade PGR machine. Gilchrist ascends around the outside. Audacious lunge. Didn't quite work out. So it's a battle now between Hubo and Bao Jinlong just as the lapped car gets out of the way. It's not actually a fight for any points. I believe we will have 2 laps to go. Dylan Pereira will cross the line with probably 20 seconds or so left to go, and I think that means 1 more lap after that, but potentially will be proven wrong here. Dylan Pereira is 20 seconds clear. I mean, it's going to take a tall order for drivers to challenge him. You can't afford to keep locking up like Hugo Ellis did there as well. You wonder if maybe a trip to Mandalika, the first time the series has visited the track in Indonesia, will slightly shift the running order. There's the team communication going on as Team Shanghai on the BWT get on the radio to the race leader. Closer to 10 seconds left on the clock, so he might actually be slowing his pace here so that we get the last lap board this time by. But it's very, very marginal. Enzo Trilli can't afford to slow his pace, that's for sure. Dylan Yip still hot on the heels. Time has expired. We are officially now waiting for the leader to wrap back around to the line. Bao Jinlong still clear in the Pro-Am class. He's 2.5 seconds in front of Li Xuanyu. Chao Chi Kwan is now almost 4 seconds in front of Munkong Satyen Tirakun. Black and white flags being waved for a couple of drivers for track limit infringements. Final warnings going on as we head on to these final laps of the weekend at Sepang. Sine Motors racing pair have really built up their advantage to Marco Giltrap. Tyre management maybe struggling a bit more for the 66, the balance of the car, as we get to these closing stages. You are relatively limited in terms of setup options, but that means that the options that you have are that much more important, understanding how to get the speed from the car. It's a job that the drivers have to work with the engineer to master. It's not just one person's responsibility, it is a team effort to get these cars out onto the grid. And then the driver, the one that is left to deliver. John Chen still looking good in the Masters class as well. All 4 of our class leaders looking very, very comfortable. Our eyes focused on the fight for second. As here comes Dylan Pereira, wrapping back out of turn 15. And what a weekend it has been. Last lap, just 5.5 kilometers left for Dylan Pereira to sweep the weekend here at the Sepang International Circuit. Enzo Trilli's now just got to hold on for one more lap. And Dylan Yip is running out of places to make this move happen. He flashes the light. He tries to get into the mind of the driver in front. Black and white flag still being shown to some of the drivers just to reinforce the message. Don't go off the track on this final lap of the race. So Dylan Yip up to turn 4, up to turn 9, and then turn 15. Those are the places where he can make this happen. He's too far back at turn 4. Enzo Trilli running the ragged edge out of that Toro Racing 99, sweeping the car through the corners. As close to the grass as he dares. And a performance, I think, that will bolster the confidence of Enzo. Even when the car is not fully up to speed, you need to be able to manhandle it and get it to do what you want. And he has done a very admirable job in this endurance race. Yes, with some fresh tyres, but a hard race won under the night lights. He has bounced back in style. 2 podiums here on Super Sunday. He will take that. Bao Jinlong still looking good in Pro-Am. Chao Chi Kwan looking good in the Am class as well. What a weekend it has been. 3 electric races in the 22nd season of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Up front, it's been dominance. about to turn 28 years old, and Dylan Pereira has given himself and Team Shanghai Honda BWT the perfect birthday present. 3 race wins on the bounce here at the Sepang International Circuit. Enzo Trulli will bobble his way out through the final corner. A tough weekend, but a weekend where he's learned a lot. 2 podiums for the Toro Racing number 99, with Dylan Yip hot on his heels. Hugo Ellis will be 4th, although he will drop 5 seconds backwards in the post-race results. Nazim Azman will be promoted up to 4th. The Malaysian fans will be loving that. Bao Jinlong, can he exit out of the final corner and hold on? Hugo's putting the pressure on. Li Chuan Yu's not far behind as well. Bao Jinlong, 3 wins for him as well, and the BWT Phantom G racing machine, that's 4 wins in a row. There comes Munkong Satyen Tirakun. 2nd place for him, and he ends up dropping quite far back behind Chao Chi Kwan, who grabs the win in the AM class here in the Endurance Cup race. That's 2 consecutive wins for Chao Chi Kwan. 3 podiums this weekend for him. And last but not least, let's not forget John Shen, who wins in the Masters class for the first time this year. The brand new for 2025 Masters class. Great to celebrate some of our veterans in the series who bring so much experience, but also so much more to the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia paddock. There is John in the Medina Motorsports number 16 with the flames on the front as he comes around the opening couple of corners. So we'll catch up with our race winners. We'll send Steve to have a word with them, and then we will celebrate on the podium for the final time this weekend. We'll spray the champagne, and unlike earlier today when drivers were reluctant to also drink the champagne, they will, I have no doubt, enjoy that pleasure as well. Oh, Enzo Trulli doing some grass dipping there apparently. Trying to pick up some marbles and be as mindful as he can be on this run back towards the pit lane. Dylan Yip might be feeling a little bit like he could have done more, but I think for him, 2 third-place finishes, he'll be pretty happy with an overall successful weekend in the number 6 Phantom Global Racing entry. 21-year-old from Hong Kong solidifies his place in the championship as well. So ending with 6 drivers not classified: Lucas Shun, Rodrigo Diaz Almeida, Amir Harris Jeffrey, Adrian De Silva, Jackie Wu, and Yen Chuang. So of our 27, 21 finishers. And once more, Dylan Pereira finds his mark behind that number 1 board. It's a 6th win in a row in 2025. A almost perfect weekend here at the Sepang International Circuit. 3 times, says the team. And the only point that he gave up this weekend was when Marco Giltrap took the fastest lap of race number 2. This has been a weekend that, if Dylan goes on to win the championship, which it would be a commentator's curse if he does not at this point, but he's looking pretty good, pretty comfortable right now. You'll remember this weekend as the one where he really showed the rest of the paddock halfway through the 2025 Porsche Carrera Cup Asia season just how strong he can be. Let's grab a look at the provisional race results. Still some penalties to be applied for some, but that will all be in the post-race investigation. So Dylan Pereira for Team Shanghai Honda BWT, 21 seconds clear of Enzo Trulli. Dylan Yip grabs another podium in 3rd, while Nazim Azman, the hometown hero, grabs 4th for Sign Motors Racing. He is promoted due to the 5-second penalty for Hugo Ellis, who drops behind Marco Giltrap and Brock Gilchrist for Team Porsche New Zealand, although still in front of Josh Rowledge in the 38. Baojin Long, winner in Pro-Am, and behind him, Chao Chi Kwan, winner in Am. Very strong races for both of them, while Dafaburi Harjo fights his way back up to 11th. Li Xuanyu is 12th, even with the 2 penalties applied, so second in class for him, while Munkong Satyen Tirukun is going to end up second in the Am class. Francis Chia and Li Chao 3rd and 4th in Pro-Am, with Henry Kwong and Simon Chan then 3rd and 4th in Am. John Shen, the winner for the Masters class, while Hubo, Christian Chia and Eric Kwong are a couple of laps down, but are classified. Same cannot be said for Lukai Shun, Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, and the rest. Let's go down and catch up with Dylan Pereira, almost perfect, at Sepang.
Well, let me show you one very exhausted and very accomplished man. The best weekend performance that I've ever seen in Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. How are you feeling, Dylan Pereira?
Definitely was really hot. So, yeah, really exhausted. I think we can see. It was really, really hot. Tried to push this time until the end, and see what you could do as a gap. So, yeah. But the car felt good, so we did some changes on the car, so it was even better than it was before. So, and I think if we could see that, yeah, really happy what we did today. And I think if you compare to last year, incredible job. I think we are really strong, so hopefully we can continue like that.
Pole position to checkered flag 3 times, and that includes an endurance race. But it's not just that. The margin of your victory on all 3 occasions. I mean, how do you explain this extraordinary pace you've managed to find, both in qualifying and in the race?
I think we just did a really good job and fine-tuned the car as good as we can, and also myself. Yeah, really adapted to the track as good as you could, and I wasn't really quick, even in GT World Challenge Asia here. And we managed to find a way how to drive here, and really a bit happy about that. So hopefully we can keep this momentum for the other races, and yeah, also that I keep this in mind for the future if I drive again on this track.
It's a very different experience next time around, a street circuit in Bangsea in Thailand. Any reason to think that you can't pull out the same kind of performance though?
I will try definitely, but Bangsea is a different track, so we could see last year for me, ended up really quickly in qualifying, putting record lap in and then next lap in the wall. So yeah, definitely trying to do better there, so it's always something to do better, and definitely try to do that, and let's see if we can win both races there too and get pole position hopefully, and because there it's important.
Well done, Dylan.
Thank you so much.
And so halfway through the season, championship leader is in fine form. There's Dylan Yip, who had a pretty good race in the Phantom Global Racing Machine. He's saying he's cold right now. I don't believe you, Dylan, unfortunately. Not looking too sweaty either. That hair, it's looking pretty good for having just been in a helmet and going racing for quite a while. We'll catch up with the rest of our winners in a few moments' time. Steve's got to go and find them. I'm sure some of them have tried to grab some fluids as soon as they could. Didn't want to wait too long to start rehydrating before they get to the podium as well, let's not forget. That's a different type of hydration. So making sure they are ready to go. There is Dylan Pereira with his Team Shanghai Yonda BWT crew. Marshall grabbing a quick picture there as well. That's great to see. It's been great to see as well today the grid being so busy as well. And before Steve catches up with the rest of our winners, let's take a look at some of the highlights of this endurance race. Endurance racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. 40-odd minutes were initially put onto the clock, but amidst the heat, the humidity, boy, what a crazy start it was. They were 3, 4, maybe 5 wide, and it all led to turn 4 being the scene of some incidents. Adrian De Silva spun around, tangled up with Jackie Wu, Amir Harris Jeffrey, Rodrigo Diaz-Almeida, and Yen Chuang also being involved. That saw the red flag, which meant the initial race start null and void. We gridded the cars back up in the order they were qualified, which meant some chopping and changing, although it did take a couple of minutes. The fans got a chance to get back a little bit closer to the machinery, and when we got underway, Nazim Osman almost pushed into the wall as drivers instantly got the racing action going. Enzo Trulli had fought his way forward to second on the race start, and Dylan Yip tried around the outside at turn 4, but pushed off the track, and Trulli in the Toro Racing 99 doing the right thing through 5 and 6 to block the path of the young Hong Kong driver. Problem was that the race leader Dylan Pereira was breaking away with great effect. Li Xuanyu used the bumper to great effect and then locked the right front as he tried to pull away from Lu Kai-shun. He did get a penalty for that, although it did not cost him positions in his class. There was some good racing between the likes of Marco Giltrap, Hugo Ellis and Nazim Osman. The hometown driver Osman getting it done eventually once Giltrap made one too many lockups of the left front tyre, and that allowed Nazim Osman to take 5th on the road. It would end up being 4th after a penalty for Hugo Ellis, front of the field. Domination though, 3 flag-to-flag victories for Dylan Pereira as he gets ready to celebrate his 28th birthday in just 2 days' time. Team very, very happy with that result. Let's go catch up though with another one of our winners, Steve, standing by down in the pit lane.
Well, the crippling heat and humidity has already created a string of casualties. Bao Jinlong is lying prostrate. He's okay, we understand, but declined an interview, and frankly, I understand. Chao Chi Kwan, he's just put his overalls back on, and underneath this overall, he is absolutely soaking wet. It's very, very hard work, isn't it? Not just to compete, but to get the victory. Must be very, very tough.
就是在这场比赛是非常非常的有挑战性，然后可以赢得这个位置真的不简单，对吧？
对的，因为真的要感谢我们的车队，我们工程师，然后因为我们的调教偏软一些，没有那么激进，一个保胎的调教，所以说我到最后的圈速可以跟得上，可以超过去，然后超过去之后我就咬牙坚持到最后完赛 ，OK。
I really have to say thank you to my team and the engineers that make the car that has a very good condition, and they kept the tires to be very good as well, so that I'm able to just overtake in some of the laps and able to push on to the end.
It's been a wonderful battle with Mongkong Satyuntirikun all weekend. How did you manage the overtaking maneuver in this race 3?
就是您跟那个 Mongkong 的这个竞争就是都非常的激烈，你也表现得很不错。那有没有什么秘诀？你是怎么这样在这个周末做到？
还是因为我到前期还是说跟住，然后消耗他的轮胎，然后因为他在跟高组别的2个车在缠斗，他一定会消耗更多的轮胎，所以说我在后面就跟住，然后到最后高组别的车超过去之后，我看到了贴上去的机会，然后我就贴上去之后，因为我知道他的刹车不如我，所以说我就跟他拼刹车点 ，OK。
For me, I know that he will wear off more tires because like he has to compete with the other 2 drivers. So what I do is just to stick with him as close as possible at the back, and whenever I see an opportunity, I just go up and just overtake him.
Wow, intelligent racing, and it all works out very, very well. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
I think part of that as well was tyre management. Mongkong Satyuntirikun unfortunately dropping back in the closing stages. I think that was partially related to the handling of the Michelin tyres underneath them. Hope Bao Jinlong is doing okay, but let's go check in with our Masters winner, John Shen, standing by with Steve Dawson.
This is how you recover from heat and humidity. Bit of Tai Chi from John Shen, finding the karma in the world and creating success. Tell us about your race.
I couldn't, at the start, I couldn't see the lights. So anyway, I just wait until everybody go, I go. And I stay out of trouble. I know it's going to have something happen, which indeed, I saw T4, some accident. I slow down, avoid it, then later on again. So I think it's the right strategy. Stay safe and let them fight it out. And then after cleared all the troubles, and I stay on the pace and focus.
With the Masters, only 4 competitors in the race. If it's a battle of attrition, if people are dropping out, all you have to do is stay in the race to get on the podium. Does that enter your mind? Do you stop being competitive at some point?
No. Actually, Chris and I had a pretty good dogfight. I was chasing him for about 4 or 5 laps. Then finally, I was dogfight with Green 11. So it was pretty fun. I never slow down, take it easy. No, I'm just going to do it the best I can.
You're tired. What's going to be your hydration of choice this evening?
Take an ice bath and have some wine.
Drink in the bathwater. That's the way to go. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
That's the way to celebrate. Channeling the Tai Chi to try and recover after I'm sure physically demanding race for many of the drivers. There is Bao Jinlong looking a little bit better, although I can understand needing a bit of hydration as we get ready for our podium ceremonies, our final podium ceremonies here from the Sepang International Circuit. Remember, we hit the streets of Bang Sen 4th through the 6th of July, so it's only about a month's wait for the next 2 sprint rounds of the championship. And then Mandalika International Circuit. We make our way there for the very first time in series history, 22nd through the 24th of August. 3 races, much like we had this weekend, before 2 final sprint races, 3rd and 5th of October. Back to Bao Jinlong, though, standing by with Steve Dawson.
True competitor and all-round tough man that he is. Bao Jinlong, who initially declined our interview because he was so exhausted, has come back. Well done. What was it like in there? What was going on? You're just exhausted.
Oh, tough race. I already died. Not easy. You know, I raced 10 minutes. I think my heart is almost 200.
What caused it? Is it the extra length of the race, or is it that you've done 3 races this weekend?
Oh, it's tough race because I should change my mind from G3 to Cup car. And also my body from the last race from Mandalika with GT3, I sick. And I have very bad cold. And I have raced 2 weeks. And then now I think my body is not good enough. So in the last 5-6 laps, I already died. I think I used my mind to drive. I didn't use my body. I think I'm in a dream. When I finished the race, oh fuck, I died.
Doesn't that mean it's a little bit dangerous? I mean, if you're a bit lightheaded and can't concentrate?
Oh yes, I just tell myself concentrate, and I slow down and I deep breath, and I use the wind. But the wind, you know, is the air is hot. I think in the car it's almost over 70 degree. So tough race, and I think it's a great experience for my work, for my job, and for my daily life.
Well, it's a great effort, and we're very grateful that you came out to talk to us because I know how tiring it is. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Fighting through the physical barrier is Bao Jinlong, and much like I was saying with Enzo Trulli, that's a weekend that he'll take lots of lessons from. A car that maybe the balance wasn't quite where he wanted it to be. He still gets a couple of podiums to show for it. For Bao Jinlong, if he's not feeling physically 100%, to still be able to end up with the results that he's had this weekend and extend his championship advantage, he'll be pretty relieved, all things considered. So we're just going to get ready then for our podium ceremonies. Spray some champagne, and in some cases, actually drink the champagne this time around. And in our last podium ceremonies after the second sprint race, the drivers, I think, were very cognizant of the fact they had to get back behind the wheel of the race car in the afternoon, and so it was more about spraying rather than drinking. Sepang has been a very nice host to us once again, though, in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Let's go down to our podiums. Let's spray the champagne.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium presentation for round 7 of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2025 in Sepang International Circuit. Let's invite the winners for the masterclass. We have 2 winners. Second place goes to driver number 88, Christian Chia from Open Road Racing. Winner goes to driver number 16, John Shen from Modena Motorsport. And we are glad to invite Mr. Alex Ingbiratori, the manager of Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, to present the winner trophy. And next I would like to invite Mr. Winston Fong, the head of marketing and brand communications of Sam Darby Auto Performance, to present the second place trophy. And let's invite our presenters to please join our winners for a group photo, please. All right, everybody, big mouth, thumbs up, ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Yeah! Thank you
popular win, I think, for a popular win for John Shen. That is for sure. Looking forward to seeing how that Masters Championship also shakes up with the fact that De Silva and Wu do not score, and therefore only 2 drivers on the podium there. A slightly unique sight, but just the way that the class works. Let's head back down, ready for more champagne to be sprayed.
And ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to invite winners for PM class. Let's welcome on the third place, we have driver number 91, Henry Kwong from Triple Ace Racing. Second place, driver number 76, Mukong Satya Sirakun from EDM. And the winner, driver number 610, Tao Qihwan from 610 Racing. And the Everest Cup Best Newcomer Trophy winner is driver number 101, from Hawaiian Motorsport. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Alex Imperatori to present the winner trophy. And next, may I invite Mr. Winston Fong, the Head of Marketing and Brand Communications of South Derby Auto Performance, to present the second place trophy. And I would like to invite Mr. Charles Chang, the Championship Manager, Michelin Motorsport Asia Pacific, to present both the third place trophy and also the Best Newcomer Trophy. Let's get everybody to come together for a group photo, please. Ready? Big smile, thumbs up. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much to all of our award presenters. It is time for some celebration.
Fascinating AM battles throughout the entirety of our weekend. Another class that is really shaping up to be very exciting in the final half of the season. Of course, one more endurance round at Mandalika, 2 more regular sprint races at Bang Sen and Marina Bay. Back down to the podium though, ready for more champagne to be sprayed.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to invite the winners for the Pro-Am class. On the third place, we have driver number 21, Francis Chia from Open Road Racing. Second place, driver number 321, Li Xuanyu from B-Speed Motorsport. And the winner, driver number 7, Martin Long from BWT Phantom Global Racing. May we invite Mr. Alex Imperatori to please present the winner trophy. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Winston Fong to present the second place trophy. And now I would like to invite Mr. Charles Chang to please present the third place trophy. And now let's get all of you together for a group photo, please. Ready, thumbs up, big smiles. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much, award presenters. Let's get ready for some champagne. Congratulations again to our winners for the Pro-Am class.
Baojin Long grabs 3 wins in the Pro-Am class. Extends his championship lead, searching for a 6th Pro-Am championship here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. That leaves just one final podium for us to work through. Let's go back down and celebrate our overall podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to invite the winners for the overall class. On the third place, we have driver number 6, Dylan Yip from Phantom Global Racing. Second place, driver number 99, Enzo Trulli from Toro Racing. And the winner, driver number 5, Dylan Pereira from Team Shanghai Yongda BWT. And the Endurance Cup Next Newcomer Trophy winner is driver number 17, Nassim Asman from Simon Motors Racing. And the Dylan Trophy winner goes to Team Shanghai Yongda BWT. May I please invite Mr. Alex Imperatori to please come forward to present the winner trophy together with the check for the winner. And then the dealer trophy as well. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Winston Folk to present the second place trophy together with the check. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Charles Chung to now present the third place trophy and the check. And lastly, the best newcomer trophy. Let's get everybody to come closer for a group photo, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, big smile, thumbs up. Ready, 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much for presenting. I know. Give a little bit of time. Let us keep the check for you. And we're time for champagne. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending the podium presentation. We will see you at the press conference later. Thank you.
Dylan Pereira making sure his team boss is very, very sticky. Well, that wraps up the action from the Sepang International Circuit. An almost perfect event for Dylan Pereira. We'll be back in action from the streets of Bang Sen in about a month's time. But for the team behind the scenes, Arjuna Kankipati saying so long from the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia.